Hey guys, this is the Mitsubishi Pajero Mini. Like I just said, this is the Mitsubishi Pajero Mini. I'm going to talk today a little bit about what it's like to own one of these cars and daily drive it, because that's what I do. I own it and I drive it everywhere. I got this little car about a year ago. Found it on Craigslist, believe it or not. A guy had imported it here for his wife, and she immediately hated it because it was way too slow and not nearly safe enough. Probably one of the biggest things people are surprised to hear, which shouldn't be surprising, but there are no airbags in this car. There's no safety features. I do not think it has anti-lock brakes. Actually, I'm positive it doesn't have anti-lock brakes. And the doors are about as thick as my forearm. So you're pretty much just driving around inside of a refrigerator box. Around here in Texas, the thing that most people notice first is the fact that the steering wheel is on the wrong side, when in fact it is on the right side. So hopping in the car here, you got everything you need. Speedometer in kilometers, RPMs, red line's at 8,000. Over here in the little center stack, we've got some cool stuff. A sweet aftermarket Kenwood that does have Bluetooth, as well as your climate controls here. It does have AC, you can switch on there. However, turning that on will make you go about 20 miles an hour slower. Up top here, I have some pretty sweet little gauges. You got your little compass right here, as well as your temperature, your clock, and even an altimeter. Here's what the gauges in the center and everything look like. You can see here, mine is kind of burnt out in some spots, but pretty cool. Automatic transmission down here. It is a 3-speed, and you will get through those 3 speeds anywhere with any kind of viable speed limit very quickly. Obligatory ashtray, and then a sweet little transformer pull-out cup holder. Okay, well, there you go. Also down here, we have our little shifter for our transfer case. You got your parking brake, little coin tray, this thing which I use for little cards, but I don't know what that's for, and then another square cup holder, which would be useful if the seats weren't so close together. The super large American drinks tend to like get crushed between the seats, so I usually just stick with these. Fuck. Down over here we have some unused button slots, and this cool little thing here, I guess you would put like a key in there or something. I usually put my little car tracker thing for my insurance in there, as well as a little adjustable vent here for your AC that you probably won't ever use. Glove box, and then no mirrors or anything up here, but you do have a nifty little, I guess, like insurance strap or something, and the original Japanese safety stuff. Mine's clip is broken right there, but you know, it still works fine. Another surprising feature of this car is that it does have power windows on both sides, and the driver's side one is actually an auto up and down. You also have your window lock right there. Nice little fabric insert here with the top going over like right up to the window, so when you're driving you can just rest your arm right up there and it won't get burnt up in the Texas sun. Down here, pretty dirty, but you have your tiny little pedal and your gas tank latch. Open that up. It does take regular gas. I always fill it up with premium though, because it only has about a 7-gallon gas tank, so it's like $30 to fill this thing up with premium, and I would rather keep the car running better and not have to buy parts for it. Down here, go ahead and knock that seat down, and in the back you have a surprisingly large cargo space. You could actually fit quite a bit back here. I've like carried furniture and chairs and stuff, small furniture obviously. Also have a couple of little cup holders and trays for the rear passengers, because These back seats fold up like so. Oh, let's get that out of here. I haven't done too many upgrades to the car at all since I bought it. And just full disclosure, I only paid about $4,000 for this vehicle, which is pretty insane given that I've put, I think, like probably 15,000 miles on it at this point, and I've only had to do basic maintenance and checkups. It helps that I work in the auto industry, so I have good technicians to look at it, but you know, nonetheless, it's given me basically no problems. I did get the windows tinted, so that's one thing there. And then I added these big Falcon AT tires on here just to make it look like it's tough. So there were two models of these cars from this year. This is a 95. There's this one, and then there's also a turbo model. This one has about 50 to 52 horsepower depending on who you ask, and is powered by a 4-cylinder 660cc engine. The turbo model actually has a really sweet hood scoop there, and I think it gets like 10 extra horsepower, so it probably would have been worth it to splurge for that. But again, I found this thing on Craigslist, so you know, beggars can't be choosers. Skid plate down here beneath, which is cool, and it's like a relatively beefy little skid plate. You have to take that off to change the oil, and it kind of weighs a decent amount. This little parking mirror, so when you're sitting in the driver's seat, this mirror here shoots directly down at this wheel so that you can pull into parking spaces and see when you're about to hit the curb. The only downside to that is that you're pretty much banished from any automatic car washes. So around back here has the original sweet mirror tent from Japan, and another big old Falcon AT tire mounted on the rear. Got a rear wiper here, a little washer jet. You can open the back up by pulling this here. Has this back door side open style, like a lot of classic SUVs. Mine does have some kind of mysterious acid damage here. I don't know what this is from. Maybe like a battery was in the back, I have no idea. Doesn't really affect the ceiling on the car or anything though, no water getting in. And then right here is your like tiny trunk space when you have these back seats up, but if you throw those down, you can see you actually have a pretty significant amount of room in there. Under here is a little like storage compartment thing with some weird shit in there. Don't worry about that. Now to start the car up. Right now the car has 143,460 kilometers on it. Rev this bad boy up. This car gets incredible gas mileage. I'm pretty sure I'm clocking like 40 plus typically. I mean, the thing just sips gas, so you can fill up the 7-gallon gas tank like once every 2-3 weeks for my commute at least, and you're only spending like maybe $50 a month on gas. The big question I always get asked about the car is it difficult to drive on the right side? No, not at all. It's an automatic, so you're really not worried about anything but just steering the car and pressing the brake. You are on the right side, but the car is so small that you could basically fit two of them side by side in one American lane. So really, even if you are drifting over the other direction because you're used to driving on the left side, it's not going to cause any problems for the most part. In terms of practicality of owning a car like this, I would say that for what I paid for it, it's extremely practical. The pros obviously are that you're going to get crazy good gas mileage. It goes just fast enough to get around pretty much anywhere in any metropolitan area, unless you do have like big freeways with 70-mile-an-hour speed limits. You know, around here it's like 55 max in town, and it pretty easily gets up to that speed. Another pro is it turns a ton of heads. It's like the strangest little car on the road, at least around here, and people are always interested, especially when they see you driving on the right side. The cons of owning this car are finding and buying parts for the car. So even with like oil changes, filter changes, that sort of thing, which I've really only had to do oil changes on the car so far. The filters are pretty expensive. They can be sourced from most parts stores around here, but I mean, you're gonna end up paying like 15-20 bucks for an oil filter. Otherwise though, the other biggest con is gonna be the lack of speed. Once you're going about 100 kilometers an hour, you're in third gear, and the car is going to pretty much be riding at like 6,000 to 7,000 RPM at that point. I don't know if that's just because mine like isn't tuned right and just sucks, but or a combination of that with the big wheels I put on it. But you really can't get up to like normal interstate highway speeds that you would expect for an average American car. Another con of driving this car on the highway would definitely be just the size and weight of the car. I believe it's a little bit over like 1,600 pounds, and it is a box. You'll feel like wind really affecting you, especially at high speeds, and this car is like definitely affected by that. Even like the backdraft from big trucks going by, you can really feel in the car. Not to mention just like the safety thing. If you got in a wreck at that kind of speed in this car, it would not be good at all. But overall, if you're thinking about buying a Mitsubishi Pajero Mini, I couldn't recommend it enough. I bought this car with about 60,000 miles on it. It hasn't given me any problems. So those are my thoughts on the Pajero Mini, what it's like to daily drive one and own one. Takeaways, basically, you're gonna turn a lot of heads. People are gonna think your car is really cute. You'll save a lot of money on gas, and you'll be a really cool guy driving one of these for not very much money. So that was my review of, well, overview of daily driving a Mitsubishi Pajero Mini. If you like this video, feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna have more, hopefully more JDM content in the future, more Pajero content in the future. And if you have any questions about buying one of these, owning this car, anything about maintaining one, what kind of wheels I put on the car or tires, leave them down in the comments below. Thanks a lot, y'all.